tunsuom NDC for na abetum John Mahama de onye ni papa MPP for na eka and ye be set records this straight kan ye tutum any lighter ya tutum any insu ya tutum no efri na bae NDC for no mutim odin e no matoto kaniam anase aban na ewo ho na omagimi nti negotiations bi omko ya sebi omo tie mu ena sebio MDC for catch them a mantie ena me abeduru ha na mo me hwe the facts na eka
ma never say ma PENDREAM TV de o se dem yopo
now and the MPP for sorry na omuti social media omunya opportunity bia so betna TV so a all that they do is they want to throw dust and another communicator wey onya kwara good morning Ghana papa penyini oyetani debia meka me se MPP mu no so omo pe obi ayuzu no adamp na debia omo hwehwe tani baako no mo use no papa penyini we betena TV so and ebekeka nkwase asem and all because na adwene ye ne say jandam eno mbetum de wini power biem e de adada Ghana for enti sabio ono tani no ni refi no ho ena wa betena TV so say the idea is to lie to Ghanaians say yato kanium yato nsuom into obetena TV so no obey association ontumi nka ice cream obetwatro ama Ghana for bia to mutrim and they have set records in the streets now jabechira mu nsema o maka any atra omodi and why and the kania yatutum no it's got nothing to do with NDC aban decision omoteki na purely MPP for decision omoteki ye emra omune IMF focus ye ye de yetiko share IMF agreement no sa agreement na ye ne IMF ko sign ye no NPP aban led by Oforiata Gabi Ochredakon Bamti Akufo-Addo Mahamudu Bawumia the head of the economic management team IMF kotena sika say this is what they want to do if we say na almost say economy na kodu point bia na yentumi nya ho hwe na momia nkotie MPP communicator we kai say oyiri ofie owoba sebio owebusianfo ye onkofo a omo friend say uncle at the end of the day no asem be free wano aba no ene be kire say wadwini kofie ana wadwini nkofie wabatena TV so to deliberately lie to Ghanaians. Now after this guy ejia jandam ni wie no Gideon Boakwa na oye the special aid to Bawumia. In fact say otis Bawumia kekan kwasi asema ono na advice Bawumia on economy na oye Bawumia senior advisor when it comes to economy no and he said Bawumia jina bedwom na okeka ensem na ototo papa so a nipa a odene tena dem etu ne fo se okwa akokeka sansem we no Gideon Boakwa ono so kotena parliament obi show so e wa sempa obi opeso ye MP oba beto ye twen no ogisi ejimi oni obi e negotiate we chire e discuss the omo peso mbeye and on the 12th or on the 13th omo kotena asempa and ono so kotwa atro e wo asempa FM na first of all no yen starting free good morning Ghana entra papa we betwa ye se wo hia na ka chen se o ye trofo. He has no credibility because we are going to prove to Ghanaians say the MPP as a political party no dia mu komunne no light bill no water bill atum no omo na de Ghana kon ekose de agreement ase enu ntina Ghana and yato kanie makodu bebi edu enu ntina yato nsuo makodu bebi edu ye nka ne tra keke ye metietie ye me ya bogi se mwa ye me se nwan ma emekekem ye de adanse ne evidence. Yeah, the facts in better to na Ghana for ehuno kreno. Yeah, first of all, let's listen to this jandam. Where any atro number one.
I've listened to Honorable and I've listened to some of his colleagues.
Okay.
You can see that there is a push of the blame elsewhere as to why they are increasing tariffs, which is not the appropriate way to start.
Is the PERC that announces tariffs?
No. But he says something which is very fundamental. We need to clarify that side before we can put on the building blocks.
Okay.
He said that the IMF agreement was what the previous government agreed that there will be quarterly increment in electricity tariffs or other tariffs. My colleagues have made it very clear that there is no such an agreement. In fact, before I came to air, I predicted this in my camp. I've clarified with a lot of people. They said there is no such an agreement. So the NDC should tell people that We have a decision to make, and this is the decision we have made. But you cannot push the decision to make such a choice on the fact that somebody have more or less made it to be binding on you. That is just irresponsible. And this is what we know. The campaign on research, so far, the research is not going very well, in my opinion. No. Having said that, so perhaps they should go ahead to publish where they think the agreement requires them to make a quarterly adjustment. So having said that, let me put this in a proper perspective. Ghanaians need to be aware that it is a choice that they have made. Just 2 weeks ago, they celebrated with fanfare the fact that they have cancelled whatever is. When it comes to, please, you have had your chance. Let me rest. You can then have the opportunity to reply. Otherwise, we cannot flow. Yes. So you have made that decision to put burden on Ghanaians by increasing tariffs. Just make it very clear that we have given you this and we are taking this away from you. But do not push it that it was somebody who made you to take that decision. That is just an irresponsible way of doing governance. So you have made that decision and you are putting the burden on the Ghanaian.
Who made the decision to bring this guy on TV? Mr. Akwa, we want to make ice cream. Who actually made the decision to bring this guy to come and sit on TV to decide the decision on this thing? Who made the decision to bring this guy on TV? These are the communicators, MPP, Al-Flodi. These are the spillovers. They made a decision to bring this guy to come and state decisions to us. Now, let us correct something here. The guy said there was no decision. Now, Okasano, osi quarterly increment na abedawa 3 months biano ya too light ene eye insume ene diakano or say there is no such agreement between, or there was no such agreement between the NPP government and Aide, the IMF. That is what Decision Man was saying. Decision was saying that, and he's in his own words, there is no such agreement, or say he clarified from so many people. So after he clarified from all those people, he made a decision to come and sit on TV to tell us that the decision was that there was no such agreement. Say, Ghana and the IMF, Etnase and the MPP say every quarter, they were going to, or they will make a decision to increase tariffs. So decision has spoken. Now, after decision made this vague, unsubstantiated decision statement, Gideon Buakwa or the advisor to Bawumia, economic advisor, in fact, his personal advisor and aide to Bawumia, also call Asempa to go make a similar statement. Now, this is Gideon Buakwa.
Minia John Jinapo is quoted to have said, Omuji e-levy freeware, Omobeto electricity mo, to make up for the revenue shortfall. If that is true. Okay.
Increase in tariff, no, I say IMF is demanding that.
It's not true. It cannot be true. IMF program say neba and ameboa.
Yes.
From 2009 to 2017, 8 years 9 days before the 7 years out of the 8 years, almost electricity tariff. The only affair NDC anto electricity boom 2009 omudi kabaye. 7 out of 8 years almost electricity tariff.
Asempa FM.
President Akufo-Addo ebe inherited IMF program under the NDC. Ama no ND ama chi ono also sign introduce IMF program in the 8 years of 2 different IMF programs. But 8 years now President Akufo-Addo aban wo ho ni nyina no. Out of the 8 years no, only 3 years and MPP aban to electricity boom Ghana. 2017 MPP anto electricity boom Ghana. 2018 yanto electricity boom Ghana. There was a reduction of 17.46%. 2019 and year 2 17.5%. 2020 Akufo-Addo anto electricity boom Ghana. 2021 Akufo-Addo anto electricity boom Ghana. 2022 Akufo-Addo anto electricity boom Ghana. In fact 2020 crowd were share electricity. 2023 and what two electricity boom and last year or 6%. Now IMF program on you 6%. It is a uba bemunne. Now be catch and say Akufo-Addo wo na IMF programs mienu na wo 8 years ni nyina no. Mfie miensa pe and odi to electricity boom. Mfie num wan to electricity boom. Wo buy no. IMF program na Akufo-Addo wo na wan to electricity boom no. Preko pe what say IMF was to electricity boom now one can crunch Ghana for.
All right, so let's stay here. On say we mo liars. Now should be say journalists not in anymore. Say or you truthful. Say be no kind of cry and I say be he's daft, but majority of people don't know. Gideon Bwako asma no cannot say IMF programs are abanyina be seen no. There was no programmer a chese was here to light bill mu. Now the question here is programs are Yamfani said the immediate program before Akufo-Addo Modian Ebano. Na a JM NDC programmer yadi ehoko jimu. Satana NDC edge $900 million every IMF for. Today we are talking about $3 billion. Now the issue is the two IMF programs no are the conditions the same. You cannot tell me say JM ana eye de Akufo ko IMF na in the component eye the agreement no eye increment in quarterly tariffs say enkanwa. It does not mean say Saoko IMF last year that agreement no quarterly increment in our tariffs no should not be in there in the first place. Sika JM mokoje wa IMF no enu bi ena mokoje no IMF. We are asking, a time na moko IMF program Akufo-Addo time no. Time a JM call IMF no na Ghana car eswaya yede ko IMF na sen. And a time na Akufo-Addo eko IMF no na a car eswa Ghana na sen. These are two separate programs that comes with two different agreements. So you cannot sit on radio and say Kufo ko IMF Mahama ko IMF into the same program should apply to IMF na Akufo-Addo and Bawumia ko no e kire unim nyansa e kire wo journalist na oto no so wonya smart and I say deliberately no why you say you want to misinform the public because you cannot compare Kufuor's IMF to JM's IMF to Akufo-Addo's IMF. These are three different programs which in them no their agreement carries different components. Inti JM ko IMF akope 900 million no any Akufo-Addo eko IMF akope 3 billion no. You want the agreement because time na JM eko IMF no na eka eda Ghana so no it was not more than 54 billion. So eye den na JM agreement oko sign with IMF no it should be the same as agreement Akufo-Addo na Ghana deka over 1.6 trillion and Ghana eka eda ho. Why? How can it be the same? Why is he not looking at the respective IMF programs and the component in them? Because we are talking about specific IMF programs and the specific agreements they signed. You cannot tell me, say, Herbert Mensah be kotoko CEO. And Obifofra be kotoko CEO. As far as Herbert Mensah be kotoko CEO, no, on any rules and regulations and the way he signed his contract, no, as far as Obiswa be kotoko CEO, no, he needs to abide by the same contract rules. It doesn't work like that because every government, every administration comes with its own agreement and how to go by things. Inti then a journalist na ho na oma akwa wekeka nkwasi asem wei na okachem say they are informing you. Anytime can say sa obi mu no oma hene kobna santemo no. These are people are omni politicians wait na them. Na oma be dada mo. Na we create bibia tumutim say they are intelligent, they are liars. Gideon Bwako analysis or no, nobody should consider this guy as an economist. He's a plain cat liar. On kanokre. Enuntina or sheda ko nechi. Eko ka say President Kufuor IMF any Mahama IMF, and Akufo-Addo beto the ending of Mahama IMF. The Mahama IMF agreement is totally different from Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, and Oforiata agreement. That is how it is. And until IMF, Akufo-Addo IMF no 1,900 million. There was a reason why Akufo-Addo was demanding for 3 billion. And there was a reason why JM was demanding for 900 million, because what they went with, the omode call and agreement no sign here. Until let me let you understand something. Gideon Boako and his decision guy the MPP is being disingenuous. Omugin say Jimmy, they want to lie to you. They are trying to hide the damage they have done. And the tariffs na yatutumna akosruna. They are trying to hide behind politics to make it look like say NDC na akofaba na NDC for Ghana for no. Let us take our time and see where the problem is coming from. The media, Obi Munyina, they know the fact, they know the truth. Obi we Obasoko running on the ticket of NPP. He knows what he's doing. Gideon Boako, he has read the Mahama IMF agreement on him, every single thing in it. NPP for they know the agreement that John Mahama IMF koye and no the agreement Oforiata Kennedy Akufo-Addo and Bawumia and IMF koye. So how can you just sit and tell your Ghanaians say you are a lawmaker, you are an economist, and you just pick one statement at the end of the day or one definition to define every single IMF program? Actually, with Jimmy. Now, let me show you something. You see, time before Akufo-Addo, Oforiata, Bawumia, Ebeko IMF. In fact, the NDC started speaking before the NPP went to the IMF. Now, the NDC didn't catch say NPP for IMF in Tema, our problems compounded yet too much. One shot. The concern of the NDC in opposition was that they will end up going to IMF. The conditionalities, the agreement will be so binding to the point to say it is going to worry Ghana for a long term. Now, the reason why I'm here the crossroad, program no atamil John Mahama mo and atofosimo, they were having press conferences and programs and speaking on the economy. And they said the NPP were supposed to go to IMF earlier because na ekano air pilot. Now, the more you are getting in debt, the more it becomes difficult for you to sign a better agreement with the IMF. Intina atofosimo were cautioning the NPP. They should put the pride aside. They should look at Ghanaians and see the plight they are putting them through, and they will be putting them through in the future. Into the NDC in opposition, we're telling MPP say, put your pride aside and quickly go to IMF, because man calling Tema, a blow which is inevitably yours when earlier received can cause torrential hostilities. NDC for MPP for Bese, Chadia Bem on the Monjin and Tem, na one jin and Tema, one shall tough for my own sorry. But because the NPP were doing politics, because no one said followers ne Jimmy, because no one just some ya dear man Ghana for ya, because they thought to say they could rule, they could govern, they could be corrupt forever. No, they did not listen to the NDC. Now, before they went to the IMF, this is what happened. You realize, say 2023, the opposition, Edinkai Kasafa, IMF, Nadien, MPP for Enko. This is a news report. Listen.
The minority in parliament, in a reaction to the completion of the processes leading to the IMF's executive board approval of Ghana's request for a fund-supported program, says Ghanaians should brace themselves for more hardships under the program. It says, and I quote, "Let's brace ourselves for the full consequences of this IMF deal, which will without doubt bite hard on Ghanaians, especially the youth. This is not the counsel of despair, but the reality that will soon dawn on all of us," he stated. Dr. Kazel Atoforson's statement was released moments after IMF and Ghana held a joint press conference in Washington to provide further details on the $3 billion three-year extended credit facility approved for Ghana. He states, "Suffice it is to say that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led government, as part of their proposal to the IMF to secure this deal, has agreed to increase utility tariffs every 3 months from last year. So far, since September 2022, electricity tariff have gone up by a cumulative figure of 75.32%, which is 27% in September 2022, 29.96% in the last quarter of 2022, and 18.36% a few days ago. The opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, since 2021 had advocated an IMF bailout.
This is a report on year 2023. The day now Kenoforiata ekotena IMF for the first time. IMF for new year meeting and ato force Mbobeka kire Ghana for say because MPP for chain upon the bashing and pushing them to go to IMF earlier no because they have wasted and delayed time no sa agreement omoko sign no utility bills every 3 months we abekosro. This is a prophecy not just a mere prophecy, a prophecy that was backed with facts from the NDC then no more opposition. This is a news item. In fact, in 2022, no, electricity tariffs increment no equal high as 72%. That was when na NDC for catch the Oforiata Bawumia money MPP for say go to IMF quickly because why say mukodua increment na every 3 months be abeba. Into the moment they entered IMF no, the NDC came out quickly to say this is what is going to happen. Mumaya nyina ya no yetinda form. They are going to go into the agreement because of eka and it is going to affect our tariffs. Ye lights, yensio, senya yebetun ebonum every 3 months. Bosomi miensebia. Video I'm about we na ye 2023. In fact, there's more evidence to prove say the NDC came to inherit this quarterly increment from the MPP. A agreement omoko signing here with IMF. Now let me show you. When you go back into a timer, you see this. 2023 date show 19th of May 2023. Then ato force kaye okokano asempa. Or say Akufo-Addo Bawumia government has agreed to increase utility tariffs every 3 months. Minority leader. Satam na end this no opposition. Ato force bekano the same asempa obitiwo. Ekachire Ghana for say enkofo na IMF no boko no bosumi bia no ye ba beto kaniem bosumi miense bia beto kaniem na obitiwo oman komna santetiwo. They all listen to Ato Forsen. They listen to the crossroads. They listen to all the press conferences. Obi is aware. Asempa, most Ghanaian journalists they are aware of these facts. They know. Inti Ato Forsen NDC for the Dinkanka Chiremo say it is in the agreement. Because in Konfonisika Oma say no, there is no way that agreement any IMF all the way to 2027 no, we are going to pay electricity tariffs increment every 3 months biano till 2027. Eka MPP for deal. That is the only way they could get a deal with IMF. Because Oman Fasa agreement nanka wanka IMF Omo maye 3 billion no. Now enye no all these platforms in Ghana, news outlets, they know the story. Now here this is this is TV3 News. Utility tariffs to increase every 3 months as part of IMF deal. Ato Forsen, date Ben show May 18th, 2023. May 18th, not end this in our power. No. May 18th, 2023. Na party Ben our power. Na MPP in our power. Ato Forsen end this for catchiremu. Say enkofo agreement no mokoye no. Ebe me tua light bill be kosoro sa for the next 4 years. You betia every 3 months you beto kaniem because omudi eti ko share agreement ase. Bawumia Akufo-Addo Oforiata omudi eti ko share IMF ase. Moma yenye careful. Na yen kan chiro so munjai. They did not listen. Now after TV3, omwankasa cocaine class FM. Almost recorded reported our story no. 3 billion IMF bailout. Utility tariffs will go up every quarter. Brace up for biting consequences. Minority. Date Ben show 18th of May 2023. Now NDC in our power. Now MPP in our power. The NDC were cautioning Ghanaians. Say, yeah, baby, we need power. Or somebody say IMF deal na Akufo-Addo Bawumia. Any Oforiata makoja to no omudi eti akose agreement biasia every 3 months biano ye betua electricity bill ebekosoro ene na ye hu ni nne no
Dedi kama amena PENDREAM TV ase na so far so good say open online portal e wo Ghana nipa share nipa follow nipa comment here to my best of knowledge without any biases PENDREAM TV